Oh, is it good? Because I need some more of them. And then here's the thing with me and Barry. Like every time I find the weirdest things that bring us back. Bring me back to him. So I'm on eBay the other day, and I just typed in escape artist. And look, there's a picture of you. There's $20 in this thing.
That was in Steel, I believe.
Yeah, Patriot News received September 19th.
Allied Picks. They were on Cameron Street in Harrisburg.
And look, you're descending.
Yeah.
See?
That was
okay, so you already did the escape.
Well, Steelton was having, it was a centennial or bicentennial celebration. I don't know who booked me there, maybe I did.
Yeah.
And two of the guys that put me in were really lit. They were drinking.
Oh, great.
Most of the time prior to that. And it really put me in tight, and what I didn't realize is the top strap that I usually open was set in a way that it couldn't open.
Uh-oh.
And the adrenaline kicked in, and literally it ripped the leather strap out of the canvas.
Oh, wow.
You know that's not easy.
No.
And I was up at least 100, 150 feet because it was their extension ladder.
Mm-hmm.
That was a neat experience.
Yeah. And I've tried to do this. Like, I've done it. There's only a handful of people who've really done upside down straitjackets, really. Because, not just because it's difficult and it really kills your legs, but because the litigation, just the red tape, is a nightmare. It's so hard to get booked doing that because, unfortunately, there was a bunch of clowns that would, light the rope on fire without any kind of safety precautions and die or get hurt. Yeah, and that's what ruins it for the rest of us. So thank you very much.
I was fortunate because I did those in the 80s, early 90s.
That's when I was,
The one that I did get signed was when I did the upside down straitjacket from the Walnut Street Bridge in Harrisburg as part of the Tacoma. The city did sign a release.
Okay. And you didn't have to provide.
No, I was. Jan and I knew Nick Fair. He was the head of the Arts Council real well.
Yeah.
He was instrumental in getting us in there, and he knew people that knew people that. They still signed the release, but they allowed us to do it.
Well, yeah, because it's so hard anymore. Oh, he's gonna autograph it too. It's Arioch, just in case you're wondering. And while he's doing that, check out this beautiful poster. Best wishes again.
This is best regards. Always.
I'm getting choked up here. I don't know what to do.
Okay.
From the heart. That's the best.
I so appreciate what you're doing because right now, magicians, escape artists are not that interested in history anymore.
No. And there's a few collectors out there, but they have much deeper pockets.
I mean, regardless of what some people think of Copperfield, I think he's a great magician. He has salvaged so many priceless pieces of magic history in his museum. Which I should own. Jerk. He just outbids me every time. I know, that's the downside. The upside is he's saving it for posterity.
Let's just hope that we can have a chance to examine it.
I would
not just like any schlub walking in there off the street, but like if you're doing research for a book or something, or like a documentary, it's important to have those resources available.
Yeah, American Museum of Magic.
Yeah,
there was access there, and as I talked about before, I was very fortunate. Got to go to meet David and Virginia Price and go through their museum and sit and talk with them. Bob Alon, the American Museum of Magic, he took Jan and I out for lunch at it was something called Turkey. I forget what it was. He said, it's a great honor if I take you to Turkeyville for a turkey dinner.
Wow.
And then we got to meet Ken Closton and Ron Alessio from Civil Wars, and then he took us out for dinner afterwards. So I was very blessed. be able to visit those places.
Yeah.
And we were in American Museum of Magic
Oh.
2 or 3 times.
Never got a chance to get out there.
Bob Lund put one of our flyers up on the one wall. Because there's a guy locally, Doc, I can't put his last name, from Lancaster. He went through there and he said, "Hey, guess what? You're on the wall."
Doc from Lancaster. His name was Doc?
Yeah. Gosh, I can't think of the last name.
Okay, we can look at it.
I mean,
That's
Doc
right.
Swan's a good friend of mine, but Doc Yoder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Daryl.
Is he the dentist?
No, that's Jay Stoltz, who used to be
Yeah.
a dentist.
Okay.
I think he's retired, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I knew there was some guy that he was a doctor or something, or a dentist, and he was rich, and had a pretty decent collection or something like that, like of illusions. I don't know much.
Yeah,
I just heard, you know.
it might be somebody else, because
No, that's. I think that's
Jay,
it.
I haven't, he went by Dr. J.
That was already taken.
Yeah, Jay had a good act. He did doves and some manipulation.
Yeah. Didn't he have a couple of
Nice
illusions too?
Yeah, he probably
I
did.
think.
I probably the last time I talked to him was probably 20 years ago.
Mm. And there was another escape artist, which I'll dig out this. You have escapism magazines, right?
They're in there somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, there was another guy that had a big hand collection I asked you about before.
Oh, Barry McCombs?
Yeah, that's it.
There
And
you
I
go.
have no idea where any of that stuff is.
I don't either.
Nobody, I haven't been able to track them down, and
I don't know what
relatives
happened
and
to all
all.
this stuff. I know, Buck, well, Buchanan, he was pretty close to Barry. He went by Barry L. But I don't think Buck bought the stuff.
Yeah. And this Barry guy, he apparently passed away years ago.
Yeah, he was
In the
interesting.
80s or something?
I think he had MS. I met him on a number of occasions, saw his handcuff collection. He was kind of a neat guy, because I never saw any handcuff collection that large. When I was still a teenager, there was a guy named Sidney Goldman who had a full evening illusion show, and he retired in Elizabethville, Pennsylvania.
Where's that, like towards the center of the state?
No, it's up by Halifax.
Oh.
And when he passed away, his widow was selling a lot of his equipment. He had some large illusions. Larry Weeks bought a lot of
Oh,
his
did
stuff.
he? Okay.
But when I got up there one time, he sold me a bunch of handcuffs and leg irons.
The ones that are in your book,
Yeah.
probably,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah. And that's where I got
Yeah, because that's a nice. What you had there was a nice cross selection of.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had some German, you had some American, you had
And
probably some Japanese.
my Uncle Dale, who was a magician, helped me so much. He wanted to buy the Burning Alive for me. Thinking as a teenager,
Man, I didn't have an uncle like that.
And I can't put that in the back of a Volkswagen Beetle.
No, but wow, that would be.
And he had, the other thing I remember, he had some beautiful feather.
I was looking to get a deck of cards. Canasta ones, no less. What am I going to do with that? You go, oh, would you like a Burning Alive? Yes, I would. Rent a U-Haul. I would have rented a U-Haul.
No, I turned him down for it.
Oh my
I
god.
don't even know if I was 16 at the time. I think Sidney Goldman used to go to the SAN meetings in Hershey.
Mm-hmm.
That was the original club in Central Pennsylvania, Colder. It's named after Charlie Colder Jones, who was a professional in his life. But Sidney would go to the meetings. And there was another guy, Major Martin, who was a major in the state police, and he had a lot of handcuffs, and I don't know whatever happened.
Oh wow. Okay.
I have no idea.
I'm gonna have to look
Everybody
one
that
up.
was involved with that club was long gone.
So he was a state cop who had a handcuff collection. Because every state and cop I talked to, because I'd say, hey, I'll stop him on the street and say, dude, I collect handcuffs, and here's some pictures of it, so they know I'm not just some crackpot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you ever find them laying around? And it's always come up empty.
Yeah.
And I thought the reason why was because the state police in Pennsylvania only started in the 30s, so they wouldn't have stuff from the 1800s.
Right.
But, I figured if somebody was in there in the 40s or 50s who was interested, they would have started buying them up or whatever.
Yeah,
And
well,
here's a guy that did.
Well, I'm talking state police. There was another guy in our Harrisburg club who was a photographer for the state police, George Pintart. And there's a story, Steranko wanted to come to one of the MAES conventions. This is a long time ago. He's a terrific artist, and he forged his own badge.
Okay.
and came in, and George saw it and threw him out.
Oh.
And Stranko was he from the Reading
Reading area, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
another. I'd love to meet him, but I'm saying it's just
I'll
slam.
tell you the Stranko escape
No, go ahead.
bit that we were talking about earlier.
Wait, hang on.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about Steranko.
You have the Genie edition.
Yes, of course. Yeah, John Novak wrote about the best edition of the Escape from Genie magazine from 1964. And I searched forever to find it, and I finally got one. I think I paid $70 for it. One issue. 2 weeks later, I'm at a flea market. I find another one for $10.
Really?
Yeah.
I had one.
And then I found them. I have like 3 or 4 copies of it now. Because then somebody else was like, "Hey man, you'd like to see it here?" And it was like,
Well, I'm not. You'll know whether this is in there or not.
"Well, we'll take a look." What was the escape?
It was where he was handcuffed to a jail door.
Okay. Yep. I know which one you mean. Franco, by the way, is a great comic book artist.
Yes, the illustrator.
Yeah, he did
This is it.
amazing stuff. I couldn't find any articles about his escapes in the newspaper files or Reading either.
I like this theory. So
Yeah.
here's what I did. I built heavy wood.
It's like chained against a lattice work.
I built this chair. Looked like an electric chair without any of the electronics.
Yeah.
And what I had on each arm of the chair, I had a screw on.
Okay.
And I did this for a promotion in Lancaster because I hung off the side of one of the buildings in Lancaster. So I did it with this chair. I didn't want to
Oh, okay.
copy exactly what it was. I was
Right.
trying to get somebody like be handcuffed to a jail door.
Yeah, and you can't travel with it. Well, yeah, I can because I got one
And
downstairs.
then the resultant publicity, you always say, well, he got out of handcuffs and in jail.
Yeah.
The door wasn't locked. But
Yeah.
it sounded good.
Right.
Sounded good in the end.
That made it easier. Yeah, because I did do a jail escape, and it was tough.
Yeah.